still in bed. Essie, I ought to be back at the office.
You don't mean to say you're going back without seeing Richard?
Of course not. Why should I come all the way home here, I'd like to know.
I made him stay in bed to punish him. And I told him you were coming home on purpose to punish him good and hard. But you be careful how you go about it now, Nat. You remember he's like you inside. He's too sensitive for his own good. And he never would have done it if it hadn't been for that darn little dunce of a Muriel and her numbskull father. And all of us teasing him and hurting his feelings all day long. Then you lost your temper and were so sharp with him after dinner just before he ran out.
Yes, I can see where this is going to work round to where it's all my fault.
No, I didn't say that. And another thing.
Essie, I cannot waste the whole day listening to you. Now, will you go upstairs and tell that son of yours to get dressed? I want to see him now.
You keep your temper now, Nat. Remember.
Oh, darn women, anyhow. They get you all mixed up. Their minds simply don't know what logic is. Hey, Sid. Sid.
I'll take the same.
Listen. Ken, maybe you can be of help to me.
Huh?
Here's a note some woman left with one of the boys downstairs at the office this morning. He'd never seen her before. Some swift babe, he said.
Huh?
Your son got the booze he drank last night at the Pleasant Beach Inn. The bartender there knew he was underage, but served him just the same. He thought it was a good joke to get him soused. If you have any guts, you will have that bum run out of town. What do you think of that? It's in a woman's handwriting. It isn't signed, of course. See if you recognize the handwriting.
I resent the implication that I correspond with all the tramps in this town. No, I don't know who this one is. But I deduce that the lady had a run-in with a barkeep. Now she wants revenge, huh? That kind of a baby can be very dangerous for a kid like Dick in more ways than one.
Yeah, that's just what I'm worried about. Oh, darn it, I should have had a talk with him about women and such things before. I should have done it long ago.
Yes, you are.
Well, I tried to a couple of times, but darn it, I always get sort of ashamed and I can't get started right. You know, you feel for all his bold talk out of books, he's so darned innocent inside.
How are you planning to punish him for his sins?
Well, it all depends upon what I feel about what he feels when I first size him up.
If I didn't know you so well, I'd say don't be too hard on him, huh?
Well, here comes the bad man, I guess.
Courage.
I'm sorry, Nat. He was sound asleep, and I didn't have the heart to waken him.
Well, I'll be hanged if you
Now, don't
aren't...
you lose your temper with me, Nat Miller. You can see him when you come home tonight. My goodness, you'd think you could hardly bear waiting to punish him.
All right, I give up. I'm going back to the office. Bring a man all the way back here on a busy day, and then you... No consideration.
Well, I never saw Nat Miller so bad-tempered.
He's so pleased to get out of it for a little while he can't see straight.
I hope I know him better than you do. There was Richard sleeping like a baby, so innocent-looking you'd think butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. Well, it just goes to show that you can't tell from appearances, even if it's your own child.
What?
Oh, Sid.
What are you doing down here, young man? Well, I thought you were asleep. It seems to me you woke up pretty quick, just after your pa left the house.
I wasn't asleep.
Do you mean to tell me that you were deliberately deceiving?
I wasn't deceiving. You didn't ask if I was asleep.
And I stood there feeling sorry for you like a fool. Well, you wait till your pa comes home. Oh, if you aren't going to catch it.
I don't care.
You don't care? Richard, you sound as if you weren't sorry for what you did last night.
Well, I'm not sorry.
Richard!
I'm not sorry because I don't care a darn what I did or anything about anything. But I won't do it again.
Oh, I'm glad to hear you say
Well, that's not because I think it was wicked or any such old fogey moral notion, but because there wasn't any fun.
Well, now you're talking sense. Now, that's a good boy.
Well, I'm not sorry I tried it once. Curing the soul by means of the senses, as Oscar Wilde says.
Oscar? Oh, goodness, what time is it getting to be? I got to go up street. You stay here now, do you hear, Richard? You're not allowed out all day as a punishment.
my fellow rum pot. Still got a head?
You go dragging that up again, Uncle Sid.
Hello. Are you allowed up?
Oh, of course I'm allowed up.
Well, if you're going to get snippy, I won't give you something I've got for you.
What?
I was walking past Muriel's place just now when I saw her waving from their parlor window. So I went up, and she said, "Give this to Dick." And she didn't have a chance to say anything else because her mother called her and said she wasn't allowed to have company. So I took it, and there it is. Gee, it must be wonderful to be in love like you are, all with one person.
Gee, Mitt, do you know what she says? She didn't mean a word in that other letter. Her old man made her write it. And she loves me and only me and always will, no matter how much they punish her.
Nice. I never thought she had that much spunk.
She says she's going to try and sneak out and meet me tonight at the beach. Says she thinks she can do it. Well, I knew darn well she couldn't hold out. Women never know when the curtain has fallen. They always want another act.
Is that so, Smarty?
Yeah, I don't know whether I'll consent to keep this date or not.
You're not allowed out, you silly, so you can't.
Can't I, though? I'll see her tonight if it's the last thing I ever do. And say, Mitt, right now's the best chance for me to get away while everyone's out. Because Ma'll be coming back soon, and she'll be watching me like a cat. You can tell them where I'm off. I mean, if they're wondering where I'm going like last night.
But what will you do till nighttime? It's ages to wait.
What do I care how long I'd wait? I'd wait 1,000,000 years, never mind it for her. Trouble with you, you don't understand what love means.
Dick, you have no idea what I went through to get here tonight. I had to get all undressed and into bed, and then Ma came up and I pretended to be asleep, and then she went down again, and I got up and dressed, and I sneaked down the back stairs. I got dressed in such a hurry, I must look a sight, don't I?
You do not. You look wonderful.
I can only stay for a few minutes because I have to be home in bed again, pretending to be asleep by 10 o'clock.
Oh, but you'll have lots of time to do that.
Dick, you don't realize how I've been punished for your sake.
And you don't realize what I've been through for you. And what I'm in for sneaking out tonight and being away all day. And for what I did last night, what your letter made me do.
What did my letter make you do?
Well, after your old man, your father left our place, and I read your letter, I thought your love for me was dead. So I said to myself, I'm through with women. They're all alike.
Oh, I'm not.
And I thought, what difference does it make what I do now? I might as well forget her and lead the pace that kills and drown my sorrows. So after it was dark, I sneaked out and went to a low dive I know about.
Oh, Dick Miller, I don't believe you ever.
Well, you ask them at the Pleasant Beach Inn if I didn't. They won't forget me in a hurry.
Why, that's a terrible place.
Well, I said it was a dive, didn't I? And they let me into a secret room behind the bar room, and there wasn't anyone there but a Princeton fullback I know. And he had 2 chorus girls from New York with him, and they were all drinking champagne.
Dick Miller, I hope that you didn't notice.
Well, I noticed one of the girls. The one that wasn't with him looking at me. She had strange-looking eyes. And she asked me if I wouldn't come drink champagne with him. Come and sit with her.
Oh, well, she must have been a nice thing.
Her name was Belle. She had golden hair, the kind that burns and stings you.
I bet it was dyed.
And she kept smoking one cigarette after another. But that's nothing for a chorus girl.
Well, then what happened?
Oh, we just kept drinking champagne, and then I had a fight with a barkeep and knocked him down because he insulted her.
Well, I don't see how you could insult that kind. And why did you fight for? Why didn't the Princeton fullback?
Oh, he was too drunk by that time.
Were you drunk?
Only a little then. I was worse later. You should have seen me when I got home. I was on the verge of delirium tremens.
Well, I'm glad I didn't see you. I'd have hated you. Well, then what happened with that bell before you went home?
Oh, we just kept drinking champagne. And then she came and sat on my lap and kissed me.
Oh.
Oh, but it was only all in fun.
Oh? And did you kiss her?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did, too. You're lying and you know it. And there I was right at that very minute. I was lying in bed and I wasn't able to sleep. I was wondering how I was ever going to see you again and crying my eyes out. Wait. I hate you. I wish you were dead. I never want to lay eyes on you again, and this time I mean it.
Oh, Muriel, wait, listen.
I don't want to listen. You let me... I don't want to listen. You let me go. If you don't, I'll bite your hand.
No, I won't let you go. You've got to let me explain. All right, go if you want. If you haven't the decency to let me explain, I hate you, too. Now, go and see Belle.
Well, all right, then. You just go and see if that's the kind of girl you like. What do I care? You can explain. Well, what can you explain? You owned up that you kissed her.
I did not. I said she kissed me.
I suppose that you just sat and let yourself be kissed till that's the Marines.
Well, all right, if you're going to call me a liar every word I say. And what if I did kiss her once or twice? I only did it on account of you.
Heck.
Well, you're a fine one to blame me when it was all your fault. Didn't I think you were out of my life forever? Well, hadn't you written me you were? Answer me that.
But I've told you my father stood right over me. He told me each word to write. I had to pretend so I'd get a chance to see you. Don't you see, silly? Still, I can see how you felt the way you did. Maybe I am to blame for that. So I'll forgive and forget, Dick. If you swear to me that you never even thought of loving that.
Oh, I didn't, I swear, Muriel, I couldn't. I love you.
Well, I still love you.
Then come back here, why don't you?
All right. I can only stay for a few minutes. Oh, I'm sorry I hurt your hand.
Oh, that was nothing. It felt wonderful even to have you bite.
There. That'll cure it.
You shouldn't waste that on my hand. Will you let me?
Well, will it wash off her kisses and make you forget you ever for always?
Oh, I should say so. I'd never remember anything about it ever again.
Well, then. All right, Dick. Oh, the moon is beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, not as beautiful as you. Nothing is. Won't it be wonderful when we're married?
Oh, yes. But it's so long to wait.
You are my love, my own soul's heart. More dear than my own soul, more beautiful than God.
Oh, shh. It's wrong to say that.
Gosh, but I love you. I love you, darling.
I love you, sweetheart.
This Oscar Wilde is a comical cuss. Even though his ideas are so crazy, they oughtn't to allow them to be printed.
Seems to me you're becoming corrupted by those books, too. Pretending to read them out of duty to Richard. Oh. My, I'm glad that Mildred told me where Richard was going. I'd have worried my heart out if she hadn't, but it's all right now.
Oh, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. Just because we know that he's all right tonight doesn't mean that last night was wiped out. I've still got to have a good talking to with him about that.
Oh, I know, yes. But you will remember all I said, won't you, Nat? And as for his being in love with Muriel, I don't see why that shouldn't work out real well.
Oh, I thought you didn't have any use for Muriel. Thought she was stupid.
So I did. But if Richard wants her, she's good for him. Mm-hmm. Ma used to say you weren't overbright. But she changed her mind when she saw I didn't care if you were or not.
Well, after all, I was bright enough. Oh, never mind. Where did you say that Lily and Sid went off to?
Oh, down to the beach to listen to the band. Poor Lily. Sid'll never change and she'll never marry him. But she gets some kind of queer satisfaction out of fussing over him.
Arthur's up with Elsie Rand, I suppose.
Oh, of course.
Where's Melvin?
Walking with her latest. I can't remember who he is. I can't keep track of them.
Well, then, from all our reports, we're completely surrounded by love.
Well, we've had our share, haven't we? We don't have to begrudge it to our children. It's Richard.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, son.
He acts so queer. You don't suppose he's been...
It's love, not liquor, this time. Essie, I believe that you should leave Richard and me alone for a couple of minutes.
Oh, yes. I'll go out and sit on the piazza.
Sit down, son. Well, how are the vine leaves in your hair this evening?
I don't know, Pa.
Turned out to be poison ivy, didn't they? And you needn't look so alarmed. I'm not going to read you any temperance lecture. I'm sure that anything I could say you've already said to yourself.
Oh, I know I was a darn fool.
Yes, you sure were. I wonder if Muriel would think you were so fine if she ever saw you as you looked and acted last night. No nice girl likes to give her love to a stupid drunk.
I know.
All right. And that finishes the booze part of it. But there's something even more serious. What about that floozy you picked up at the Pleasant Peach Inn?
You know? Well, if they told you that, they must have... Pa, I gave her $5 just so I could get out of it. Oh, she made everything seem rotten and dirty. And I wouldn't do a thing like that to Muriel no matter how bad I thought she treated me. Even after I felt drunk, I didn't. Honest.
All right. I believe you. That settles that. But now, just... Wait a minute, Richie. Something else. Now, Richard, I think it's about time that you and I had a serious talk about certain matters pertaining to... Well, what I mean is this. There's no use procrastinating any further. So, here goes. Now, Richard, you've come to an age where you're a fully developed man, in a way. And, it's only natural that you should have certain desires of the flesh, to put it that way, concerning the opposite sex. Certain, natural feelings and temptations that'll want to be gratified. And you'll want to gratify them. Well, now, there are a certain class of women, always have been, Always will be. Long as human nature is what it is. It's bad, but what can you do with it? Girls like that one that... girls are something doing with. And some of them are pretty. So it's only natural. Richard, here's what I'm driving at. They're apt to be whited sepulchres. Why, your whole life might be ruined if... Oh, darn it, I suppose you boys get together and talk it over amongst yourself, and you probably know more about it than I do. All right. I admit, I'm no authority on the subject. I never had anything to do with such women, and it'd be a darn sight better for you if you never do.
Well, I'm never going to, Pa. Well, I don't see how you think I could now. When you know I love Muriel and me going to marry her. Why, I'd die before I do anything.
That's the talk. Boy, I'm proud of you when you talk like that. All right, now, that's all of that. There's nothing more to say, and we'll end it, huh? You go and call your Ma.
Ma?
Oh, it's a beautiful night. Oh, the moon is way down low. It's almost setting.
Yes, I don't think I've hardly ever seen such a beautiful night with such a wonderful moon. Have you, Richard?
No, it was wonderful down at the beach.
Yeah, I can only remember a couple of nights that were as beautiful as this. Of course, that's when your mother and I were young, long ago. We were planning to get married.
Yes, I bet those must have been wonderful nights, too. You sort of forget the moon was the same way back then. Everything.
You're all right, Richard.
You're a good boy, Richard.
You better get to bed early tonight, shouldn't you, son?
Oh, I couldn't sleep. Couldn't I stay out here till the moon sets?
Well, all right. Better say goodnight now, though. I don't know about your mother, but I'm dead tired. I'm going right to bed.
So am I.
Good night, Ma.
Good night. Don't you stay up till all hours now.
Good night, Pa.
Good night, son. You haven't done that in years. I don't agree with fathers and sons kissing after a certain age. Seems kind of silly and mushy, but I meant them. And I guess we don't have to ever have to be afraid of him being safe from himself again. Whatever life does to him, he can take care of it now.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to put out the light. Are you ready?
Yeah. Let her go, Gallagher. There he is. Like a statue of your love's young dream. What's it that Rubaiyat says? Yet, that spring should vanish with the rose, that youth's sweet-scented manuscript should close. The spring isn't everything, is it, Essie? A lot to be said for autumn. Autumn has beauty, too. And winter, if you're together.
Yes.